Hi, my name is Lance Sanders. I am a special education classroom assistant for Chicago Public Schools. Today, I will give you my inclusive learning showcase, and we will dive in on some mental illnesses that students have to struggle with on a daily basis. The first one we'll dive into is called Autism Spectrum Disorder, better known as ASD. ASD is a disorder that affects people's behaviors. Um, Very sensitive to sensory noises. They love routine, but it's a big issue with social behaviors, which affects their ability to be, without guidance, to be very different in the social norms. Students with ASD have a wide range of linguistic abilities. Um, they can speak very well most times, right? It takes some guidance of what's to be said and what can't be said, and helping them find some self-control. Um, but what's effective is allowing them a safe place to express themselves. That's why it's important to create routine. And that's also why they struggle if they don't have routine. They're building up these developmental traits of learning how to engage with others and learning different patterns to stabilize their emotions, because although they have missed social cues, they have a lot of internal battles that allow themselves to feel a lot. And because they have this disorder, most times they believe that what they feel um, takes over all. So definitely training and supporting how they go about their emotions are very important. Again, to mention that wide spectrum of students with ASD, they need a lot of support. It's great to have have places for them to come back to baseline, fidgets to keep their hands busy, um, continuously motivate them, give them praise for the progress that they make, because the battle that they're focused on, the natural feelings that they're going against, it takes a lot, and the praise keeps them motivated. Also, when a student with ASD lets you know, hey, I need a break, that's a long way of their communicating and being able to process the fact that they've hit a point mentally and they've learned some self-control to say, hey, I need a break. Working with students with ASD and getting them to actually learn, at first, they can become very repellent to your support. They like to avoid conversations or avoid different work paths because they don't trust themselves and they don't feel pretty confident. Um, so it's great to, one, before they get to act out, get them into a safe place alone. Some ASD students can work with themselves within the classroom, but to reassure that safety and that trust in you, get them in a place where they can feel themselves. Also, paper may not be the best option if they, have issues focusing. They would need tech support or games to draw their attention. The next disorder I like to talk about is specific learning disability. This strictly goes into their cognitive and linguistic development areas. SLD is known for slowing students down and not being able to comprehend right away. So you'll get students that can read a paragraph, um, or they're struggling to read the paragraph, and at the end of that paragraph, they may have no idea what they've read, and that's frustrating. It beats down on them. It's very Stressful because they're trying to, one, especially if they're in a bigger classroom, it eats away at their social emotional uh, development, because that's their confidence. That's their ability to create friends, and they're pushed to want to be social with others. But um, they have a true problem because they can't piece together what they read. Also, it really affects, to at the beginning of this of reading, is pronunciation of words. They struggle with pronunciating words and sounding things out, which goes into reading overall. So even though um, they want to be active and they're social kids, they really struggle with some of the simple words, which leaves that gap in that grade level band lower, because they struggle with comprehending different words. The next disability I like to enter is intellectual disability, other known as ID. Um, ID is a disability that stops the everyday function, and it attacks all developmental areas. Um, so for a kindergartner, um, cognitively and linguistically, some young children aren't able to talk because of intellectual disability. They can run around, they can play, but it may seem like they're hard of hearing, or they're just late bloomers when it's time to talk. It's just that they're truly they're fighting this disorder, and it's putting a real strain and stress on their bodies. For example, you have adolescents that are late bloomers when it comes to walking, crawling, um, expressing themselves when they're upset, little babies. So when they get upset, they lay on the ground and bang their heads, and then in kindergarten, when most kindergartens would know how to say I'm upset, or they cry without banging their heads. Um, and you get a little older, you have students who are responding as a kindergarten would when they're in third grade or second grade or first. But that's what intellectual disability is. They are behind in all in all developmental skills. It's a circle. It's a attack on each developmental area. Supporting students with SLD and ID takes consistent reassurance, uh, regular routine, a lot of creativity. Also, it means giving them space, letting them understand that you understand that they are facing these emotions and they are safe with you at all times. And again, not everyone can sit in front of a piece of paper or a book, so it takes handwriting because of their the the lack of motor skills. Also, it can be getting them technology that reads for them. They love the feeling of vibration and the senses of their ears. So hearing audiobooks goes a long way. Sometimes there's not always space for students with diverse learning to have proper rooms or time alone for their educational purposes. So to build an inclusive classroom, I believe the first thing that teachers should do is hold the expectation that, hey, we're all a part of a process. No one woke up as smart as they are today, in the respect of understanding where another person is and how they need to gain their skill. Two, making everyone feel involved. It's very important to read IEPs and build that relationship with students, because that way you know who your students are and how they work, right? Being able to create activities where either you're playing group games where everybody's more involved and it's fun, it's exciting, But two, when you have to work into those smaller groups, give everybody a direction. Those students with SLD or ID, um, or social emotional disorder, they are still children who know how to do something. They are either charismatic, they could draw, they like leading different exercises for their peers. Don't make them feel like they're less than or they can't. There is a role for each of these students. Also, it helps as a teacher to be transparent. We don't always get it right. Students always don't get it right. To be able to show that regardless of our levels of development, we make mistakes and the best thing we can do is lift and climb for each other, shows that there's no pedestal over a student and they shouldn't hold one. And the best way we can learn is in a safe, loving environment. Thank you. My name is Lance Sanders. I hope this video was entertaining and informative. Have a blessed day.